Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be going over Ikigai. So for those who may not know what Ikigai is, we're going to go right into it. But I actually like to say that it's something kind of like a way to see how to find your purpose in life and what you like to do, how you can best do what you want to do, and also get money out of it. So it's just a really cool way for me that really helps me put my life in focus and also know my priorities just from organizing it. And I like organizing things, so maybe this will help you out as well. Also, this video, I'm actually trying out the lavalier mic for the first time ever before I use a shotgun mic. Let me know if you like this audio better than the previous, and then maybe I'll switch over. So first off, what is Ikigai? I'm going to show you a diagram right here. And just to show you this, it's like what you like to do, what the society needs, and what can get you paid. All of this is really great because it really gives you a good mind of like, okay, so first off, think about how you can think about it. Don't think about things like, oh, I do well in accounting, or like I do well in graphic design. Think about things a little bit more broadly, like I do well with creativity, I do well with teamwork, I do well with people. All those kind of things is a really good way to kind of think about it, because I know way too many college students that actually just don't know what to do and how to even go about it. So this is a really cool way to kind of put everything into focus and then see what you can do, because the more broad you go in terms of how you do well in, the better it is. So why should you care about this? And it's not always about the pros and cons. Sometimes it's on the best fit. And a lot of times you may actually be really happy doing something that is actually not what you were thinking of, but then you'd also be unhappy with something that makes you get paid a lot just because maybe your parents want you to do it, or maybe that everyone else is doing it doesn't mean you should. So doing this framework will help you kind of analyze what you do well and what you like to do and what society wants and what makes you get paid. So all this is a really great way to kind of put it all together. The other thing is that you want to think about environment, career, life purpose, relationships. All those kind of things can really help you put into perspective. This is not necessarily just for like your purpose in life or your like what you like to do or a job. It could be anything about this as well. I mean, probably the only thing that you may not have to worry about that much is like what gets you paid. Because like think about a relationship that gets you paid. That's just like, what? But I mean, you could still technically put in the mindset of how to be financially responsible together, but that's just like a way that I like to use Ikigai as a way to think about how to approach life. Then the other thing is it's always important to be introspective and reflect. And this is really important because if you don't constantly reevaluate out your entire perspective, your environment, your standpoint in life, or even your situation, then you may actually just constantly be living someone else's life or riding on trends, but don't actually care about what you like to do or what you even want to do. A lot of people I spoke to, especially young professionals, they don't even know who they are. They just do what they think that their friends want them to do, or what their parents want to do, or what gets the bills paid. But sometimes if you focus about what you like to do, and I know that I want to go over this in a different video in terms of how can you balance having passions and projects and whatnot and get paid, because sometimes you may be like a starving artist, but then you don't get paid, but you're doing what you like to do. How can you combine the two? Well, Ikigai is a really great way to actually combine the two. Maybe if you want to do something in art, but you know, you're not getting paid because you want to do something in art, you can try to find something that can get you paid in art. So maybe something like an art director or a museum curator, graphic designer, or even like a freelancer. There's so many things you can do other than just selling paintings. Not to say selling painting is bad, but this is just a really cool way to kind of think about everything that you have to think about. So that's something to consider if you're trying to figure out, well, what I like to do doesn't really get paid, but also what gets paid I don't really like to do. There's always a middle ground somewhere, you just need to find it. And then this also really helps to help you think outside the box. I know that for a lot of people, like I mentioned before, they would say, I'm good at accounting, I'm good at graphic design, but they don't actually think broadly in terms of, I like creativity, I like people, I like working outdoors, like very, very broad. Even something like I would like to be in an urban environment, it could be very broad. But it really helps you try to get, okay, where do I envision my life rather than where do I envision myself? If you envision your life in a particular environment or type of work, all you have to do is think about that, because you never know, your interests and your competencies can always grow or diminish. It's just a matter of how much you work on it. And also, if you want to be in a good environment, that's also even more key, because that can help you grow a lot more than if you were just doing something you were good at. At that point, you're just kind of like, I'm pigeon-toeing myself to this one area. And if you do something like that, you may just be stuck with that for the rest of your life. But if you kind of look at the grand scheme of things, you can kind of see all these opportunities you can be chasing. And I mean, I know it's like going to seem that you're just not settling, but it's a really good way to stay open-minded. Then you also have to think about, what do you love to do? And this is what I'm talking about specifically: soft skills, environments, qualities, interests. Don't think about very minute details like, what do you love to do? Oh, I like basketball. Well, you can say something like, I like being active. So that way it's a little bit easier way to have a little wiggle room. And then once you have a bigger picture, you can kind of hone into an area. There's also, think about what industries might appeal to you. Don't think about companies like, oh, Apple, I want to work at Apple because it's great and it's big and, you know, I have an iPhone and everything. Think about environments and industries. Oh, I like fashion, or I like high tech. And then that way it's just a lot more well-rounded in terms of your holistic point of view of approach. And this also means that you're not only honing down on a big company, you're also broadening your views to other smaller companies that may just be just as great and may even be better. Then, what does the world need? And this is something that is a little bit harder for most people to answer, because they're just like, I'm a 20-something-year-old, how am I going to know what the world needs and how I can help satisfy that? Think about what problems you could solve. Don't think about the world as the world, think about, what do people in the world need? So maybe, for example, in consulting, or specifically technology consulting, that a lot of companies need people to help advance their technology so they can be more efficient, save more money, and also improve their quality of life as an employee there. That way, I'm basically solving a problem for them. And this could also, if you think about it even further, that helping clients move to the cloud is also going to help sustainability and CO2 emissions. Like, think about that. Like, that could be someone's what they like to do kind of thing in the Ikigai. What pays? And I know this is where I'm talking about like the starving artist and like moving over into corporate world or something like that, or even just becoming a freelancer. But think about how you can possibly get paid for what you're doing. And a lot of times, if you're trying to get into maybe that you were working in, like, you were a lawyer for a very long time and now all of a sudden you want to be in music. So how do you go from that to this? Because it makes you happy to be in music. Like, maybe from going from a lawyer to musician, how can you possibly make that jump? So there's multiple ways I can think about it. Well, first off is try to become a lawyer in like maybe like the music entertainment industry. The other is maybe something like being a lawyer in IP, intellectual property. The other could also be in licensing, all these kind of things. The other thing you could do is just do music on the side. So it's not like you're completely forgetting it. And you can also always just try to like start a band, start singing, try to do YouTube videos, try to do TikToks, all those kind of things. You can always do that on the side, and then once it takes off, you can actually just start to dwindle down on your lawyer career. And another thing you can also try to do is try the freemium method. If you maybe really like to play the guitar and you're trying to eventually make money on it, try to maybe like offer up free services first, build a portfolio, build some experience, build people that can actually vouch for your skills and your experience as like a craftsmanship as a musician and as a business professional trying to show up to gigs and whatnot. Try to do that, and then eventually you could start charging. That is one way you can go about it. You don't have to do that complete jump. So do that on the side. There's just so many people who do that because like they need to build that portfolio. In order to build the portfolio, they need to do work for free. And that's what I also recommend a lot of students to do if they're trying to get into consulting but can't really get into it because they're either like not from a business major. Go to some small businesses and also reach out to them. Hey, can I do some consulting work for free? And then eventually, once you get good enough, you can actually start charging. So lastly is, what do you do well in? And this is really mostly just think about what you do well in by skills, and also by like hard skills, by soft skills, and also maybe like what area do you know a lot of? Because if you think about, oh, I do really well in technical, I want to be in a creative environment, all of a sudden you're like, how do I balance the two? It doesn't seem like they work together. Well, you could technically go into web design. It's like kind of a bit of a both. That way you're thinking outside of the box. You're not thinking, I want to be technical, so I want to be an engineer or a programmer, or I want to be creative, so I have to be a graphic designer or an animator or something like that. You can try to bring it out as much of the things that you like. Think about where you feel happiest, where you feel most efficient, where you have been most successful in. Don't think about things that you have done well in. Don't think about specific tasks that you've done well. Think about the actual skills that are involving the task. So like, for example, if you killed it at a presentation in school, why did you kill it? Did you kill it because of the creative slides, or did you kill it because of your charisma and your public speaking, or was it the teamwork aspect or organization or even your ideas? Think about it. Think about all these little details, and eventually you can kind of pull all of them together. So this is a way that I like to kind of have a framework for my life. It's not the only framework, of course. I hate to use frameworks sometimes for something as simple as, should I get a cat? But it's always something about following your heart. And this is a really cool way to kind of just, if you don't even know how to get started in terms of, I want to pursue my passions, I want to get a job, I don't know what I want to do, this is a good way to kind of just look at your life, putting all the pieces together and just looking at it and seeing like, oh wow, there's so much more than I thought that I just, because a lot of people I know, a lot of young people, they always try to kind of look down on themselves. Oh, I only do well in math, I suck in history, I suck in science, or that I'm not creative, all I know is like I do well in tests, or maybe I don't do well in tests, maybe I do well in sports. Think about all of the elements together, and then you can actually try to come up with something cooler. So thank you so much, and let me know what you think down below. Have you heard of Ikigai before? I've heard of Ikigai back in college. I haven't used it that seriously, but it was a really good way to kind of keep things in perspective. And I'm also going to keep the diagram right over here, and let me know down below if this helped you out and if this even helped you discover new careers that you never had. So even after you fill out this whole worksheet, you may like, okay, well now I have this, how do I even find something that I want to do? The good thing to do is just look it up or watch YouTube videos like my channel on technology consulting, and also talk to people that you may know that are in a field that's creative, or speak to some people like career advisors, or maybe some friends, or maybe people that actually have connections out in a lot of industries or a lot of jobs. So something like that can really help out. Don't think about how your parents are going to be telling you what to do, or that they're going to judge you. I mean, you're still always going to get judgment no matter what, but it's really a good way to figure out what you like to do, what you know you want to do, and then find that little medium right there. If you keep on living their lives, it's not going to be the best. I know that for a lot of people, they have no choice but to make money because of the fact that they had undesirable financial situations, like maybe student loans, so they can't just drop everything. But this is something you can use to, maybe if you just don't want to do work all the time, you want to do something on the side, maybe this is a good way to figure out a hobby you could do. So think about that. It's not always going to be a clear-cut answer. In the end, you may not even be using Ikigai method, but this is just a good way for you to kind of organize your thoughts. Thank you so much, and see you guys next time. And let me know down below if you actually think the lavalier mic is even better than my previous videos. Thank you, and see you guys next time.